Your AC unit is eating $300 a month because your windows are cooking your house alive. Not a broken seal, not bad insulation, your glass. Every single window in your home is a solar oven door swung wide open. 80% of the heat destroying your living room right now is infrared radiation passing straight through that glass like it isn't even there. The HVAC industry knows this. Your power company knows this. The three-letter energy regulators in Washington know this. And not one of them has ever told you that a $15 film you can stick on that glass yourself in 40 minutes blocks 80% of that radiation dead on arrival. No electrician, no contractor, no $8,000 dual-zone split system. A roll of metallic film thinner than a sheet of paper. This technology was engineered in 1973 for the Apollo spacecraft thermal shielding program. It kept astronauts alive at 500 degrees Fahrenheit of direct solar exposure in the vacuum of space. And the moment the space race funding dried up, that patent was shelved, buried in NASA technical archives. Exposed once in a 1978 Department of Energy feasibility study. Then silence. Total, profitable silence. Here is the history they stripped out of every home improvement manual in America. In 1843, settlers pushing into the southern Appalachian Range faced a brutal problem. Summer heat in the Tennessee Valley hit 105 degrees Fahrenheit inside timber cabins with south-facing window openings. A frontier blacksmith named Asa Crenshaw in what is now Blount County hammered thin sheets of tin until they were nearly translucent. He tacked those sheets across the inside of his window frames. His cabin dropped 20 degrees Fahrenheit inside by midday. Neighbors measured it with mercury thermometers traded from a Charleston apothecary. Crenshaw treated 14 cabins that summer. Not one family reported heat sickness. A county clerk documented the method in an 1844 agricultural ledger. That ledger sat in the Maryville Courthouse archives for 130 years. Then during the space race, engineers at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama were solving the exact same problem at a cosmic scale. Gemini and Apollo capsules needed a barrier that reflected infrared radiation without blocking visible light. By 1971, a team led by materials engineer Donald Rethke developed a multi-layer metallic oxide film deposited on polyester substrate. It reflected 78% of near-infrared wavelengths while transmitting 65% of visible light. That film kept the Skylab orbital workshop habitable when its primary sunshield tore off during launch in 1973. A $15 film saved a $2.5 billion space station. The Department of Energy published a residential feasibility report in 1978, confirming that the same metallic oxide film applied to standard residential glass reduced indoor solar heat gain by up to 79% in controlled testing. The report recommended nationwide adoption. It was never funded. It was never publicized. It was archived in a federal storage facility in Suitland, Maryland, where it collected dust for 46 years. If you are still watching this, you are already ahead of 99% of homeowners in this country. Most people will spend $12,000 on a new HVAC system this summer and never once question why their windows are funneling 800 watts of heat per square foot into their living space every single afternoon. This video is only the surface. I have compiled everything the energy industry does not want in your hands. The complete off-grid vault. Link in the description. Passive cooling methods erased from building codes in the 1960s. Thermal barrier techniques classified as non-compliant by industry-funded certification boards. Insulation protocols that cost $20 and outperform $4,000 professional installations. Ventilation hacks that Appalachian builders perfected 200 years ago and that modern contractors have never heard of. More than 10 complete guides in one place. No filler. The link is in the description or scan the code on your screen. But stay here. The science is about to make you angry. Here is what happens at the molecular level. Standard residential glass transmits 84% of near-infrared radiation between 780 and 2500 nanometer wavelength. That is the band that carries heat. Your curtains do not stop it. Your blinds reduce it by 15% at best. The radiation passes through the glass and converts to thermal energy the instant it strikes any solid surface inside your home. Your couch, your floor, your walls. They absorb it and re-emit it as long-wave heat trapped inside the room. This is the greenhouse effect, operating inside your living room every day from May through September. Metallic window film contains a nano-thin deposit of aluminum oxide or titanium dioxide on a polyester base. When infrared radiation hits this layer, it reflects the wavelength back through the glass before it ever enters the room. The visible light spectrum passes through largely unaffected. You still see outside clearly, but the heat bounces back into the atmosphere where it belongs. Independent testing by Oak Ridge National Laboratory confirmed a 77% reduction in solar heat gain coefficient on single-pane glass treated with metallic film. On double-pane glass, the reduction hit 82%. A window that was pumping 620 watts of heat into your room now delivers 112 watts. That is the difference between your AC running 14 hours a day and running 6. Now here are the numbers they do not want you to calculate. The average American household spends $2,400 a year on electricity. Air conditioning accounts for 47% of that bill in summer months, according to the EIA. That is $1,128 a year just to fight the heat your own windows are letting in. Over 15 years, that is $16,920 in AC costs alone. A roll of metallic window film covers 36 square feet, enough for 4 standard windows. Price at any hardware store, $12 to $18. Treating every south and west-facing window in a 1,400 square foot home costs under $60 total. Payback period, 23 days of summer cooling savings. You cannot build a subscription model on a $15 roll of film that lasts 10 years. You cannot charge $180 annual maintenance fees on something a 14-year-old can install with a spray bottle and a squeegee. You cannot generate $16,000 in lifetime revenue from a customer who figured out their windows were the problem. So the HVAC industry spends $340 million a year on advertising, telling you the answer is a bigger unit, a smarter thermostat, a more efficient compressor. The power companies lobby against passive cooling standards in residential building codes. The federal boards funded by industry set efficiency ratings that exclude window film entirely from their rebate programs. What you cannot monetize must not exist in the public mind. Here is exactly what you do tonight. Go to any hardware store. Buy a roll of reflective metallic window film, not decorative tint, not privacy film, metallic reflective solar film. Look for the spec sheet. You want at least 75% infrared rejection and minimum 60% visible light transmission. The roll should cost between $12 and $18 for 36 square feet. Clean your window glass with a solution of 1 teaspoon of dish soap in 1 quart of water using a lint-free cloth. Cut the film 1 inch larger than the glass pane on all sides. Spray the glass surface generously with the soapy water solution. Peel the backing off the film and lay it onto the wet glass. The water lets you slide it into position. Use a plastic squeegee or a flat credit card to push all air bubbles from the center outward toward the edges. Trim the excess with a razor blade or utility knife along the window frame edge. Let it cure for 48 hours before cleaning. Start with every south-facing window, then west-facing. Those 2 exposures account for 83% of your total solar heat gain between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. A family in Tucson, Arizona treated 8 windows in their 1,200 square foot ranch home in June 2019. Their July electric bill dropped from $387 to $194. They spent $48 on film. The AC ran 9 fewer hours per day. The compressor lasted an additional 3 years beyond its expected life because it was no longer running at maximum load 16 hours a day. They posted the before and after bills online. 120,000 views. The comments all said the same thing. Why did nobody tell us? That question is not innocent. It has a $130 billion answer. The North American HVAC market generates $130 billion annually. The residential electricity market adds another $180 billion. A homeowner who blocks 80% of solar heat at the glass needs a smaller AC unit, runs it half as often, replaces it half as frequently, and pays half the electric bill. That homeowner is worth $16,000 less to the system over 15 years. Multiply that by 85 million owner-occupied homes in America, and you begin to understand why a $15 roll of film never made it into a single building code recommendation in this country. This knowledge is not new. It was engineered for astronauts in 1971. It was validated by a national laboratory. It was recommended by a federal energy report. Then it was buried because it worked too well for the people who were not supposed to stop paying. Every share of this video is a crack in that wall. The complete off-grid vault is in the description. Everything they buried is inside. Scan the code on your screen. The next vault opens soon. What it contains is heavier.